given a voice to the voiceless. We share the stories behind our freedoms and the ultimate sacrifice of those who protect us all. This is Patriots Inside The Wire.
Beautiful thing to see the family and friends come together and honor his life and his service to our country.
Great to see you guys out here. This is awesome, really.
Welcome to the Patriots Inside The Wire broadcast, hosted by Gold Star Mom, Tracy Two-Step.
Well, hello out there, everybody. Wednesday Warriors on Patriots Inside the Wire tonight. Patriots Inside the Wire. Glad to be here on a Wednesday. Please share, grab your friends, let them know we are on live right now. We have a special guest with us tonight. Very special indeed. And the Tree of Valor is with us live from the studio. We'll be bringing up Lori here in just a moment. She's already with our guests that will be on tonight, but I wanted to give you a second to grab and share and to pay attention to this true story that we have for you and what I call the true heroes that are out there. They don't wear a cape. So in this month being the Vietnam month that we need to remember and honor all those who serve or have served is very, very important to us. So here at Patriots Inside the Wire, we would like for you to share this, grab your friends, and meet our special guest that we'll be bringing on for you tonight with Lori from the Tree of Valor. And I'm going to grab Lori now. Lori, here she is, Mrs. Lori from the Tree of Valor. How are you?
Good. We're super excited to be here. This is our first in-studio guest, so we're really excited about it. And we love Steve and his awesome wife, Kim Ben. And so we're just very excited that I said, you're the guinea pigs for us for in the studio today.
Well, the studio is a great place to be. So I'm glad we're in the studio. You know, we're on a Wednesday night, Wednesday Warriors. Miss Lori here at the Tree of Valor is the co-host every Wednesday on Wednesday Warriors now going forward. So if you want to reach us at patriotsinsidethewire.com, or you can reach out to Lori, who's taking care of our guests on every Wednesday from now on. Straight from the Tree of Valor. Lori, let's let everyone know who our guest is.
Okay. Today, we are super honored to have Master Chief, Master at Arms, Steve Nash. He is a Navy SEAL, and I'm going to let him explain how long he was in and all of that and his story. But he has a Silver Star, 2 Bronze Stars, 2 Purple Hearts, and a long and colorful history. He is a great storyteller, and I'm just can't even say how excited I am that he's here today.
And my wife, Kabin, who has 19 years service, and she was a contractor with 1st Special Forces and 5th Special Forces in Vietnam, and she was part of the guerrilla group that fought after Vietnam fell against the communists. And we'll talk more about her later, but that's Kabin, my wife.
Very nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you both. Thank you both for your service.
She's actually going to be on our show in a couple weeks in honor. This month is also Women's Military Month. Women's Military History Month, as well as Vietnam Veterans Day. So this is the perfect couple to have on our show.
We're covering both, so I can't wait for that episode as well. Now, so we have Steve here, Steve Nash. Steve, you are in an era that is very close to my heart when we discuss our veterans, and that is our Vietnam veterans. There's a lot of people have their reasons. I have my own personal ones, but I am extremely grateful and thankful for someone like you. There's very few people who even step up to a line and decide they're going to do it, or even make it to where it's a subject that they can comfortably now explain and help teach and give the history behind our country and those that do serve. And I think it's so important, especially our youth, our communities, to start learning more about their history from the people rather than a screen that might be a media, television, or something that might be taught that may not have the real people that you can look at nowadays and go, hey, wait a minute. I have someone right here who can actually tell you, hey, this is what it is. Let me tell you what this was going on here. So, Steve, did you why don't you take me back? Like how old were you when you decided that you were in the military, or did you decide?
Well, I went in at 16 years old.
Wow.
My father was a terrible alcoholic.
Okay.
And all of his brothers were alcoholics. And he had, him and his 6 brothers. And we all lived together. We were fishermen in Florida, very poor. And it was a really tough go. When I was 16 years old, I already was a diver. I was diving for sponges off Tarpon Springs. And I was at sea more than I was in school.
Oh.
My education level was very low. And I turned 16 and I thought, I don't want to do this. I'm tired of drinking already at 16 years old. I'm done with that.
So you were drinking too?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Wow.
And so I really worked hard that year. And then when I got closer to 17, I met a Navy recruiter one day and talked to him about going in the Navy. I said, I'm just trying to escape. I'm just trying to get out of where I'm at. And he said, well, join the Navy. And I did. I joined the Navy and I was 16 years old. I was at Bainbridge, Maryland.
Wow.
And I turned 17 at Bainbridge. And they let me start training the next day after I turned 17. So I started boot camp the day I turned 17. I finished boot camp, still very low education. My future in the Navy was limited, and I had a real chip on my shoulder. If anybody said boo, I'd fight them. If anybody looked at me the wrong way, I'd knock them. Just I don't know, there I was. And I went aboard a ship. I went to Fleet Sonar School. And in order to go to Fleet Sonar School, I had to have a high school diploma. So I went to school. I went to school during the day with the Navy, and I went to school at night to get my high school diploma. I graduated as a sonar technician, went aboard a ship, quickly became the leading sonar operator on the ship, and all that. 3 years on a destroyer. The first actual combat I saw was on that destroyer in 1958. We were in the Formosan Straits off Taiwan, and China and Taiwan were shooting at each other across the Formosan Straits. So there we were. And then 1959, I applied for, I had seen the movie Frogmen. I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be a frogman. Everybody looked at me, and since I was only a real short guy and I only weighed, I used to buy my pants at that time in a boys department, and they said, you can't do it. You're not tough enough. You're not big enough. I said, after I popped them, I said, yeah, I will. And I went to UDT in 1959. I was
Don't forget your
approved.
picture.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had some great pictures to go with these stories. Yeah.
UDT in 1959. We started out with a class of almost 300 people, and we graduated 12. That was the graduation. I'm trying to get that ring off there.
Just for this, you can see.
There you go. Okay. Wow.
And we graduated. We had 13 And the day of graduation, they dropped a guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, after 24 weeks, 6 months of training.
Wow.
I graduated from UDT. I went to Underwater Demolition Team 12, and we were still under the usage of World War II, clearing beaches, amphibious landings and such. And so I learned how to do all that, and I was ready to go ashore in combat with a knife and a pair of swim trunks, but it never happened. I didn't have to do that because we didn't make any major landings after that. And it was peacetime. When I went through training, it's an interesting fact, when I went through training, we had a chief there by the name of Brereton, and he was a little short guy. And he came up to me and he stuck his hat bill underneath my hat bill, and he looked me right straight in the eyes and he said, "I'm the shortest man in the teams right now." And he said, "I'm going to remain the shortest man in the teams. You're not going to get there."
So you were shorter than him?
Yeah, and that was the first week of training. He said, "My goal is to make you quit."
Wow.
Okay, yeah,
So much for that goal.
yeah. So anyway,
And that didn't go that way. So you ended up in the middle of Vietnam.
well, I went to Malaysia first.
Yeah.
I did some duty in Malaysia with the British who were fighting the communist terrorists in the CT, they called them in Malaysia. And then I went to Vietnam to deliver some boats. But Vietnam hadn't really, we're talking 61, right? And I went to deliver some boats. And when I got there and we delivered the boats, they said, "Well, we were told you're not going back to your regular unit right now. You're going to stay here." I said, "Okay." So there was 4 of us, and we stayed there. And they said, "Well, what are you going to do?" We said, "I don't know, And they said, "Well, we don't know." And back and forth. And finally, we ended up going as advisors with the junk force, with the Vietnamese junk force. And I always, when I do presentations, I always like to tell people, first time I went to combat in Vietnam was under sail. And it was, because we were part of the junk force.
Wow.
And what our job was is they had what they call the itty bitty landing force that landed in various places for various reasons.
I don't know what under sail means.
Well, the landing force are guys that were on the boats that would go ashore and do jobs. Okay.
I know that sounds like such a silly question, but
No,
for the
that's fine.
civilians in
That's
the room,
fine. And so that was what I did, is we rowed the boats and then went off on shore. When they got ambushed, we would try and break the ambush or do whatever,
So when did the UDT become SEALs then?
Well, Underwater Demolition Team didn't become SEALs until 1962.
Is that what your death picture was?
Yeah, well, the death picture was 65.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And
Was that the next one?
yeah, here. They wanted to take pictures of all of us so that in case we got killed, they could put the picture in the paper. And that was my death picture.
Oh, I love that picture. Actually, I actually have that picture in here.
Yes.
too,
Yeah.
to make sure
Talk
that
about a
everybody
sharp-dressed man.
sees
I
this.
mean, what a
Watch
great
this.
picture.
So,
Here we
Right?
go. Let me see if I can bring this up for everyone there. So
Yes.
for everyone
Yeah.
out
That's
there,
the
here
picture.
is the actual picture that he's talking about. And
right.
Steve, you're saying that, do you want to go by Steve or should I call you Master
Yeah,
Chief?
Steve's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So Steve, you're saying this is the picture. Where were you when this was taken?
That was in UDT 12. And that was in Coronado,
Okay.
and they took that for, in case something happened to us, they could put that in the paper,
Yes. Okay. Got
And
it.
then,
And then you became a SEAL.
Yeah, then I went into SEAL team and I did a tour with SEAL team, and they didn't put me in a regular SEAL platoon because I would already been an advisor. So I got a Vietnamese SEAL unit that I worked with, and that was in Ha Tien, which is north part of the Delta. And
I like how you said SEAL team so casually, like that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
just
right. It's like SEAL
that's a
team.
that's a pretty big deal. Like, not only are we talking about the underwater diving team, we're talking about, you know, your history, but then the SEALs, to bring that up too, it was just kind of, you brushed right through that, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
well, you know,
That's a good
SEALs.
thing.
One of the facts that I'd like to put out tonight is SEALs basically earned their reputation in Vietnam because that's when we started, and we developed it as we went. We had we were underwater demolition team. We didn't know, and the reputation that we earned from Vietnam was extremely good, but we did some phenomenal operations. There were only about 260 SEALs actually served in Vietnam in a 10-year period from 1962 to 1972. I left in 72, it was my last trip in Vietnam. And there were only 265 served in Vietnam. 39 of them died. Okay.
During your time there.
Yeah. So, you know, there weren't that many, but we only had, a billet is a job opening in the service, right? We only had 100 billets. Well, one time we got up to about 160 people because we needed the bodies to do the job. But that's as big as we got. And during Vietnam, we only had 100 SEALs on the West Coast and 100 SEALs on the East Coast. And we deployed. We were gone all the time. And
How many
as soon
deployments did you do?
Well, everybody did at least 2. Some guys did 7 and 8. I only did 4 and a half.
I love how he says only.
In Vietnam, I did 1 in Malaysia, 4 in Vietnam, and then I went to Iran, and I was, you know, that was later on. But during Vietnam, we only had 265 SEALs serve in Vietnam. That was a small number for a 10-year period of time. And
I mean, when you think about the entire Navy.
well, yeah, I mean even a ship,
special forces, really.
even a destroyer-sized ship's got 300 people on it.
So in a 10-year period, 265 is
right. And we only had 100 in the teams, and we ran our own training for the most part. You know, we would go, like I went to Marine Mountain Leadership School for mountaineering and all that. When I got back from Marine Mountain Leadership, what they did is they said, okay, now you're going to teach mountaineering here. And then we would train in-house, you know, we'd train.
Wow.
And same thing if we went to a language school, like I went to Chinese language. When you go to language school, when you come back, you sit down and you teach the rest of your guys around you that, you know, whatever. And if we
teach the basics so that while you're there, you can understand.
And we didn't have any other deployments. SEAL team was designed, SEAL Team 1 on the West Coast was designed for Vietnam, for counterinsurgency in Vietnam. So our only duty station was we go to Vietnam, we come home, we go to school for a while, and we go back to Vietnam, just back and forth.
How did the Apollo happen?
Apollo, well, Apollo, I went from SEAL Team, I went from UDT 12 to SEAL Team 1. Then I went to UDT 13. UDT 13 was commissioned during Vietnam to take the load off of the other teams.
So they didn't just do away with UDT,
Well, they did later.
okay.
But then I went back to went to UDT 13.
And just to get it out there real quick, UDT, for everyone that's listening, is Underwater Diving Team.
Underwater Demolition Team.
Demolition. Okay.
Yeah. And I went to Underwater Demolition Team 13. And when I went there, the CEO came to me and he said, look, I've got no experienced people going to Vietnam. I got all brand new guys in the teams. He said, we got no combat experience. And they took about 8 SEALs and transferred us over to UDT 13 so we could teach and, help the guys get ready for what's coming. Well, when I got to UDT 13, the CEO, the commanding officer, asked me, he said, what would you like to happen while you're in the teams? He said, because you're coming and helping us out, I can make it happen. I said, well, one of the things, I always thought it'd be cool to be on one of the Apollo missions. He said, you got it. So I ended up on Apollo 12.
So you have to show them your picture.
Yeah. And I was in the water when the module came in and helped get the astronauts out of the module. But that was a tough mission. It was a tough go.
Can you show that again?
Yeah, I got it here. I'm just taking it up.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that something? He has such great pictures.
Yeah.
And that was one of the other things he also did.
That was one of the specialties that I did in the teams. Is I went to Fort Huachuca, Arizona to photo intel school. I was an intel photographer.
So he takes amazing.
Yeah.
He has a whole load.
A whole stack.
He does. He's being
I love it.
Pictures.
That picture in particular was a very telling picture. You could tell that was a rescue mission.
Yeah.
Is what that was.
But I don't know how our time's going, but we're
and you're
talking
saying
about
Apollo.
Vietnam.
We're talking about the Apollo, literally.
Yeah.
So we're going from being in military to going in about the Apollo, and you're part of that mission as well.
Yeah, I was a swimmer for Apollo.
Wow.
When the module came down and landed in the water, I was one of the guys that jumped out of the helicopter and did all that. But it was before that day, we trained 3 months for that day.
Wow.
For that day. And it worked. It was good.
I keep saying wow, but I really am in awe.
But
I really am.
I wanted to talk a little bit about coming home from Vietnam.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And part of the reason why we're talking to Steve in general and about Vietnam is something that Steve and I talked about the other day, which was that he, along with probably every person who's ever gone to war, many of them will say it's the first thing they think about when they get up, and it's the last thing they think about before they go to bed. And Steve said, the war might be over there, but it's never over.
Yeah,
here.
it's never gone.
And so a lot of people are still dealing with the demons of those time periods.
That's what I was going to get to.
And that's what I want to make sure that anyone that's listening to this, that the 22-a-day veterans.
I've got a story about coming home.
So we want him to share that. We want the Vietnam veterans to know, though, that we see you and we're thinking about you, and you're not alone. And I really, really want them to know that we love them.
Yeah. When I came home in UDT 13 from a tour in Vietnam, and had a lot of combat in that tour, a lot. And so when I got back, they gave me basket leave. That means leave off the books, which is illegal. But right. So I got basket leave. And they said, take a week's basket leave and then come back to work. We'll work in whatever your next deal is. I said, okay. So we got back and went home, and they called me the second day I was home, and they said, hate to bother you, Chief, but we have an awards ceremony tomorrow, and you're getting a Bronze Star. So we want you to come in and get your award, so we don't have to do it again and again. I said, okay, no problem. So it was summertime, so I got my whites, my ice cream suit, and I went into work, stood up there, did the salute, did the whole thing, got my bronze, my little doodad, and I had all my other medals hanging on my uniform. And I started home, and I was driving a Fiat, a little Fiat. And I was going through Imperial Beach, and I stopped at a stop sign, and a hippie van came up next to me. It was loaded. I mean, it was like 20, 25 people in there, all scumbums, all scrubby hippies. And I'm sitting there at the light, waiting for the light, and I'm not paying any attention to them now. And they all jump out of this purple van. They all come out. And they come to my car, and they start pounding on the car. And they go, oh, you baby killer, and all this kind of stuff. And they've got paper sacks. And they started busting those paper sacks on my car. I'm sitting inside the car in my whites. And they're busting these sacks on my car, and they're full of human excrement.
Oh, my.
Okay, and I'm sitting there. So I jammed the car, and I went on through the red light, and I just kept going, right? So I got, okay. So I go to a car wash, and I wash the car up as best I can in my dress whites. I wash the car out best I can, get in the car, and I go to one of the local watering holes. It was a bar where I went quite frequently. It was close to home. It's just down the street from my house, neighborhood bar. And I go in there, and the bartender saw me, and he saw the look on my face, and he knew me, and he said, what do you need, Steve? I said, I need a double shot right now. Boom. Yeah. So I threw that down. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, and it's bright outside. It's the middle of the day. And it's dark in there, and out of the corner comes this guy, and he's got on a cowboy vest and a ragged cowboy hat, and the vest has got the fringe on it and everything, and he's got flowers on his jeans to cover up the holes. And he comes over and he walks over to me and he says, I guess you think you're some kind of hero, huh? And I popped him. I popped him. And I just caught him just right. And he went down and he was flat out. And the bartender says, go. I don't know you. Nobody in here knows you. Get out. Go home. Go away. So I did it. Ran out, jumped in my car, went home. So I got home and I'm real quiet.
And depressed.
I'm real quiet. I was depressed. I was more angry than depressed, but I'm holding anger down. And my wife, who, by the way, I was my first wife, and I was married to her for 40 years. And she looked at me and she said, what's wrong? What's going on? I said, nothing. And she said, come on, what's the matter? I said, nothing. And she said, man, something's wrong. What is it? And I considered popping her at that point, but I never do that.
No.
But I was getting ready to, and I said, okay. And I told her the story of what had happened. And she said, well, I've been waiting to tell you. I didn't want to spoil your homecoming. She said, but I've had a lot of problems. And I said, what's that? And she said, I've been getting midnight phone calls. Your husband's a baby killer. Your husband's this, and language that I can't use. Okay. And she said, I had to move the kids from one grade school to another because one of the teachers was calling our son the son of a baby killer.
Oh my.
And that's what the Vietnam veterans were treated like.
But I didn't realize that even your spouses were when you weren't even home.
Absolutely. The whole
I did
family.
not know
The whole
that.
family serves. When one serves,
Yeah.
the whole family
And
serves.
it just was, I truly believe, there was a lot of real PTSD, genuine PTSD amongst the Vietnam veterans. And I seriously believe a lot of that was caused from the homecoming, not from the war.
Yes.
It was caused by the way when you are serving your country, when you're in combat and you come home and you're not allowed to wear your uniform off the base, there's something wrong.
Yeah, that's very wrong. It's
Yeah,
very
and we
wrong.
were not allowed to wear a uniform off the base.
Because it would put you in
Because
harm's
who
way.
did what happened to me? That's the reason.
It was it's inexcusable behavior of things that happened that were going on at that time that were not.
Absolutely.
They are not. I don't agree with it. I don't condone it. And here's the one thing that I get reminded of all the time. Well, our service members serve so that we have freedom. Even if they are idiots, they still get the freedom to be an idiot. And I say, well, just don't be the idiot around me. So
Yeah.
I know what that takes and what it takes for someone to do what you're doing. And then, to be driving home and experience that on that day. This is what I mean. People need to hear the true stories that are there. There's a teacher that was teaching a classroom full of kids who are now adults. And those kids were exposed to negativity about people that were out there making sure that we were safe in our own country. So now you've got those kids that are adults, so it's generational. This has caused generational problems throughout.
I'll tell you another story on that line. Just recently, there was a group in Greensboro, right here where I live now, it was a storytelling group, right? This was before COVID. And I used to go and tell stories. So one day they said, okay, we're going to tell stories about coming home from war. But from whatever war that anybody was involved in, any veterans here, got to tell, that was the theme for this thing, So I went and I told that same story. And there was a lady there who stood up, and she was in charge of this thing, right? And she was they gave out a little prize, nothing.
A trinket or something.
Yeah, a trinket or something. Well, that night, I was voted the best story, right? So she gave me this trinket, and she stood up in front of the group, and she said, I was one of those hippies in the 60s, and I'm damn proud of it.
Wow.
And I got up, I grabbed my wife, we walked out of there, and I've never been back.
Yeah, that was wrong.
That was just a couple
I don't know
years
another
ago.
word for that one except that's
something
wrong.
else. I mean,
Yeah.
that is really, how did the other
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
Me too.
that would
had a different ending.
well, that's why I just
It would've.
walked out.
300 bail bonds.
It was a bookstore. I could have made a mess of it, but I didn't. I just walked out.
Wow, you have
You're
to
the
tell me
better
later
person.
what bookstore, so I never go in there.
Yeah, you're the better person for that. And that's what it
Yeah.
takes in this world right now is each of us reaching out to each other, being a better person, teaching the other people, reaching into the community. and understanding what is going on. And you never really know what's going on with someone at any given moment or any time in their life. So these things that happen can really push someone over the edge.
It's amazing to me that how insensitive people are. They don't, even with the guys that are serving today, you know, they're still insensitive towards them. You know, every once in a while somebody will make a comment and I'll just tell them, you know, I don't want to hear that. I just don't want to hear it, you know. But, yeah, I've really mellowed. I don't pop people the way I used to.
This is a new side, Steve, I didn't know about this.
Oh,
No,
I was
like
terrible.
This is
I
the
was
good
terrible.
part, yeah.
I was, I got calmed down by, I had to get, you know, in the Navy, you say you have a sea daddy at one time in your service. Well, I had a chief in my early years in the Navy. I was awful. I'd fight at the drop of a hat. And he pulled me aside one time and he said, and I was in trouble. Yeah, I was ready to go to captain's mess and probably get restricted and all that, maybe busted and all that. And he pulled me aside and he said, okay. He said, what do you want to do with your life? I said, well, I'd like to better myself if I could. He said, okay. He said, I'm going to school. You want to go to school with me? I said, yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? And so before I got married, I started the school. Now, remember, I joined the Navy with a 7th grade education, maybe. I don't know if it's 7, maybe none. And by the time I made chief, I had a bachelor's degree in law enforcement.
Nice.
And
well, congratulations on that. That is an actual huge success right there. Like being able to do that. You're already in the military and now you've gone in, you know, through 7th grade level education, you were able to go to school.
Well, and I retired with a master's degree, but
wow.
it was
Master's chief and master's degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just never got caught.
Yeah, that's the secret. That is the secret right there, is do not get caught. You know, it's interesting, Steve, when you said that, so we call you chief. Lori, I'll have to tell you on a back channel sometime, but popping someone, I know all about that one. That was something in our household that happened all the time. If you did something around someone that was in my family serving, you one hit, you're out. You're cold cocked. You're on the floor. No talking. You're just done.
Well, I came from a family that were Seminole, and I'm like half breed, so I lived on the reservation. I went to a school off the reservation. Well, the kids in town knew I was from the reservation, so I was dirt there.
Wow.
The Indian kids didn't like me because I looked white. Okay, so I learned real early to sharpen up my knuckles, and that's the way it was. And I'm still today, when I talk to another Indian and I say, yeah, I'm Seminole, I'm registered and everything, they look at me and say, yeah, right.
Wow.
We even have you on the tree, the Native American tree over there.
Yes,
But,
no. And it's unfortunate that we, as people still in this day and age, or even you said something that happened recently, like it's just unfortunate that happens. We have someone in our network, their heritage too, same thing. It's, you know, the automatic assumption of what someone is or is not should not happen. It would shock people like you just said, yours. There's some shocking information that we all have that just by looking at someone, we should be careful because you never ever know
Yeah, you don't
what's
know.
there. You just don't know. So, but how many years were you actually in the service?
26.
26. Okay.
Yeah, 26 years, and I loved every day of it. People who say thank you for your service, and my answer to that is thank you. I'd do it again, but they won't let me.
Yeah. So you retired, and as you retired, was that your decision or it was just time?
Well, it was time, and they were. I didn't like the way things were going at that time politically and everything within the military, and there were, and I was,
You were done with it.
I was done with that. I loved it, but it was time to move on and do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife of 20 that I said that I was married to for 40 years, she was kind of ready,
Mm-hmm.
be home a little bit, right? I spent 26 years in the Navy. I actually was home for 11 Christmases.
Oh, wow.
The rest of the time I was deployed. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why people always say, why do we do Christmas trees?
And my kids didn't know me. I mean, I was the guy that came in once in a while smelling kind of funky and got cleaned up and left again.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. So, Steve, as you've had all those deployments, you have been in charge of many people in units that were serving. What was it like for you to be in charge of other people that are serving? And then you can see these kids joining. And, sometimes there's some that are built for it. And then there's some that just aren't. I'm a really honest person. So, and here you are, you made it to a level where now you're in charge of a lot of these kids that are joining. Were you one of those people that you could literally spot somebody and think, this just isn't going to work for this one? Or did you ever have an experience with maybe a mother or someone who was, something that stands out to you where you're like, this, I'm going to have to be a little more involved?
I was fortunate in the fact that I was dealing with underwater demolition team and SEAL team. These guys have proven themselves before I ever got. They had gone through 24 weeks of hell before I ever saw them.
Yes.
And what
is 24 weeks of hell? Because a lot of people out there are like, well, what are you talking about? So when you say 24 weeks of hell, what did they have to do?
Well, when I started training, we had 300 people apply for the class. Okay. In the period that I was in, we had no makeups, if you failed to run or you failed to swim or you failed an administration test, that was it. You were out. You were gone. In order to quit, all you had to do was take your helmet off and hand it to the instructor, and you were gone.
How about the ringing the bell?
We didn't have a bell.
Oh, you didn't have a bell.
No, there was no bell there yet. The end of Hell Week, which was the 5th week of training, there were 50 of us left. We graduated 12. There were 13 the day of graduation. They dropped the guy the day of graduation.
Oh my!
Wow!
Yeah, it was.
Imagine me.
It was the mental. What they said that in underwater demolition team training was, we are going to take you to combat, and we're going to put you in combat. We're going to keep you there for about 5 months. And then we're going to bring you out. But we're going to take you as close to combat as we possibly can without you actually being in combat. And it was, 12-mile swims, 11-mile swims, 15-mile swims. And in those days, we were not issued a wetsuit. We had a pair of swim trunks and a blue and gold T-shirt.
Now, I don't know if this is true. I mean, but I'd heard another Navy SEAL say that some of the worst parts of the training weren't even the instructors. It would be the class ahead of you. They were so brutal, but then they were your biggest encouragers.
We didn't have.
If your SEAL Team 1, you wouldn't have.
No, we didn't have
We
didn't have a class ahead of us. They only ran 2 classes a year, and they were, we weren't overlapping, so that didn't happen, and we were not allowed to even speak to anybody that had graduated. We were not allowed to speak to another another frogman. We were not allowed to speak to him. If we did, we were dropped like that.
Yeah, it's very, very rigid, very, very strict, very.
Oh, yeah.
Especially then.
Yeah. Well, and then, for instance, you couldn't have a tattoo. No tattoos. Because it's an identifying mark, And we all had to sign a non-disclosure agreement that we wouldn't talk about operations, And it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I would say that between your experience and being able to be in the underwater demolitions and SEAL Team 1 and all those deployments and everything that you've been through, there's no way for us to even remotely understand what it is that you are able to do, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally too, and the taxing that it is for a whole family, literally, while you're serving. But I do know that I am grateful that someone like you is in there. And I hope we have many, 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 many more people just like you who are in, and they can actually have that task and they can complete it with that strength that it takes. Now, coming out, that's where we've got to work on a lot in our communities. We got to do a lot better. We're still not there. I mean, it's better than it was at Vietnam, but we're still behind on
absolutely.
Do you have any suggestions for that?
Yeah,
absolutely.
What the suggestions? I mean,
well, as far as coming out and what happens to a guy after the service,
like some kind of
it has to start in the service. It has to start with our military. You can't create a killing machine and not decompress it.
Right.
You can't do that.
But we don't. We just throw them back out.
Yeah, exactly. We just say, okay, we're done with you, go. And in fact, when I got out, I didn't know I had PTSD or anything. I didn't care about all that stuff, And the medical, I was fine, I was still, buff and good to go,
Yeah.
So I never went to the VA. I never went to anywhere to get help or anything, And 20 years after I got out of the service, in 2000, it was actually 2001, I went in 9/11. I was sitting in the doctor's office waiting for results from cancer tests from Agent Orange. And I was sitting there watching the planes fly into the building on TV. And they said, Mr. Nash, would you step over and talk to Doc? I walked in the room. I walked in the room and he said, Mr. Nash, you have cancer.
You found that out on September 11th.
September, I was sitting there watching it on TV. And I was in California, Martinez VA Center. And I ended up almost a year in the hospital being treated for cancer. And then, which I'm cancer free right now.
Good.
Tracy is
Yeah.
so-
Cancer
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, it sure does. It hurts. I don't
Sucks.
care what anybody says.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did not go to the VA. When I finally went to the VA for the help, a DAV guy came to me while I was in the hospital. And he said, sign these papers. Well, I'm taking chemo. I don't care about the papers, right? And I signed them and I handed them back to him. And what they were was for my disability and all that.
Go
Get me in the
DAV.
system, yeah. And they got me in the system and you know, there I was. And so, yeah, but they don't need to tell these guys they have PTSD. They don't need to tell these guys that they're going to be like this. They don't need to convince them that they're going to be screwed up for the rest of their life. They need to look at them, talk to them, and say, okay, what can we do to help? How do you feel? What can we do to help? That's my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
Well, the transition piece is
Just
the
like the physical component of testing and everything else, so should be the other components. So there should be a whole release. This is a horrible analogy I'm about to use, but here's the analogy that I'll give you because I've grown up around a lot of things. Before you're able to leave, you've gotten in trouble for something, and you've maybe had to go to. Remember, I told y'all this is a horrible analogy, so don't send me a bunch of hate messages. But they do a bad job too. But there's programs out there. Let's say you've been arrested for something, and then you've served some time. Again, horrible analogy. I know I'm going to get it for this one. But there are homes, halfway houses. There are places to go to try to do rehabilitation. So I'm not saying we have to rehabilitate, but I'm saying while we're in the military and we're serving, we've got a whole different level of service in an area where I feel we need to work on with our service members while they're active duty, not just them, their families as well. I personally feel, and this is my personal feeling, if someone had been actively, now I got lucky. Let me take this back. I have a colonel who's just amazing. Thank goodness I got a hold of him. But a lot of people don't have that experience. So if while they are serving, you stay active with the people and you get the families also highly involved, make sure you meet the family. And this is a big one to me. You're not going to have as much detachment at home. You're not going to have as many issues. And so that's one area that I saw. It was like, I really wish that there was more of an inclusion of the family too. So while you're away, it does. I don't mean just a wife. So let's say a mother. Lori is also a mother of a service member.
Brother, sister, cousin, kids.
Siblings are big to me. Now, siblings, get me on that one, then you won't get me to shut up. But I am not happy about how siblings are just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. We don't even think about that. One day you've got a sibling and now you don't. Try to explain that one. That one is that's a rough one, because then you live with in the home. The home's quiet, and then it's like you've got the service hero, even though I don't like to use that word either, but you've got the person that served, and then everyone's like, where are they? It's very difficult for a whole family, not just if they're gone, but when they're out of the service too. Like Lori, you have a son that has served. Once you're out of the military, it's like a jolt for everybody. It's like, wait, what? What do we do now? Like, where do we go? Where's the unit? Like, what's the schedule?
You know what? I always tell these fellows that are getting ready to retire, I always tell them, one of the biggest jobs you're going to have when you get out is figuring out what to wear every day.
Yeah. I like that one.
I haven't heard that
That's
one.
true. I like that one. I like that. I love your humor, and it's very true. Actually, the most basic things, because it's such a regimented thing that you do in the military. The most basic things are now your decision of what am I supposed to do now? Where are we going?
Oh yeah, that's
But
like
yes, getting
bubbles is
dressed,
that your whole life was planned, and now all of a
everything.
sudden you have a whole life to plan.
Right.
So,
After the military. And so, yes, I do believe there should be a step program while you're active and after. So
Right.
we've got to do
While
a
you're
better
active,
job.
though, it's one of the great things about the teams is we had our leaders, our people that were in the teams, the guys that were working next to you. We were so close that we were like a family, and we talked about these things. We actually planned for these things. Now, I don't know what it's like now because it's so big compared to when I was in, but we were also socially, I don't think I ever went out with anybody but somebody from the teams. It was just that close of a group. And if somebody was going to a church, we'd all go to that church, and the guys that didn't drink, we'd hang together. I quit drinking when the Master Chief had a little conversation with me, and I haven't had a drink since, but we
like
How many years is that, Steve?
turned out very differently. That bar experience.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you would have been in there with even just 2 veterans or 2 service members, that would have turned out very differently.
Yeah.
You would have probably taken the whole bar apart.
But it's just to what you're saying though is the transition, and the military has tried to have transition programs, and none of them ever lasted. I don't know why. Some of them were good, some of them were bad.
Might be leadership. Leadership is part of that, and then everybody feels like we're entitled to everything, and I feel like you've got to show up, stand up, and earn some of those things too. So when we set up programs, the program has to be set up from the top to the bottom, not.
Well, we have congressmen that hate the military. We have congressmen that don't understand why we should even be paid.
And the pay isn't much.
Yeah.
The pay itself is very low, actually, for our service members, and what they get paid is actually very low. A lot of people don't realize that. They actually buy their own uniforms, literally, extra things that you need in the military. These are true stories. So you buy your own things. You don't get paid much. And then you have people that still to this day are not. Yeah, amen on the money earning right there. We've got Rich here tuning in saying thank you. I believe there should be free flights. I believe there should be all sorts of things. The pay increase needs to be there. Right now we've got someone else in office, and everybody's always going on about, they're tearing into the money. They're tearing into the money here, the money there. I'd love for them to take that money and transfer it over to our military personnel and say, you know what?
Yeah. Everybody's talking about how, well, we won't even get into politics. I could go. I could really go. But
we'll have to do a night of politics with Steve on a show is what we'll have to do.
But
you've earned that right.
I fought for it. That's what I tell people. I say, I've had people say, well, you're going to vote this way. I said, yeah, I earned that right. And I said, you didn't. Shut up. Which is wrong, but and Cabin, Cabin, when she came from Vietnam in 1991, after 19 years of combat, she came
And that's your
and
wife.
she became an American citizen right away. She brought 5 kids, she's had 5 kids, 11 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren, all right here in Greensboro, the whole thing. And I had somebody recently say, is she really an American citizen? Which I thought was, that's a reasonable thing to ask, right? And I said, yeah, she is. Well, yeah, they come over here and they get their citizenship so they can get this and they can get that. And I said, let me tell you something. She fought for this country for 19 years before she ever saw it. She's more an American than you will ever be.
That's right. That's
You know?
right.
Yeah, that show is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Her
Yes.
story is unbelievable as well as his.
I have to tell her story because she's a double stroke victim.
Mhm.
Oh.
She
is
has
she?
a
Okay.
terrible dementia.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'll be two weeks.
Okay.
In 2
Yes.
weeks, we'll
And
be
this
back.
is your wife. So this is tonight on Patriots Inside the Wire. We are on with our Master Chief. And I like for him to say it for his title. I don't want to mess it up, with Chief Steve Nash, who a Vietnam veteran who has served 26 years, Steve?
26 years.
26 years underwater demolition teams, SEAL Team
SEAL
1.
team.
SEAL Team
And
1.
I was on three different ships.
3 different ships, and also the Apollo rescue. How did that come about?
I was in Iran when the Shah left and Khomeini came back.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you
He
can't
write a
make
book. He should write a book.
you can't make this up, and this is what I mean by the show. So this sort of education is first hand. No one can ever take this away. These are your words, your personal experience that you're giving right now. True story, just in regards to people probably thinking of movies. I know what they're thinking, but this is where I like to find the true stories. We have another comment. So Rich here totally agrees with us. We have an interactive audience going on. Totally agrees with us on the pay, but let's see, Rich, what you said here. Oh,
Congressman diapers usually full of something.
Yeah. Like this.
so that is your comment from Mr. Rich Carl. I can tell that he's a veteran. And
You actually met Rich when you did the Memorial Day.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
okay, so well, that makes sense then. Okay, so
yes.
we'll let Rich is okay with saying whatever. and I'm fine with it too, because we do have that freedom and that right. So but I don't, just like you had to discuss, coming home in your car and what happened as you're dressed from getting your Bronze Star, all in your whites, your uniform, and that happening to you. I can tell you that I have been a fighter always, and they'll say to me, well, they earned that right because America, in our country, our freedom of speech, our freedom of our rights. And I'll say, yes, but let me throw a but in there, because it isn't okay to disrespect people like that. It is not okay to.
It's not okay to disrespect anybody.
Exactly.
That's, we've lost. When I was in school, the little bit of time I was in school, they taught us to bow. They taught the boys to bow and the girls to curtsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they taught us to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am.
Yeah.
Or yes, sir, and no, sir. That was in school.
Yeah. Yeah. Along with the Pledge of Allegiance and the flag and
exactly.
Honor, the silence. Mm-hmm.
All of the basics that need to be there as far as respect.
And you open a door for a lady.
Yes.
You slam a door in front of somebody you don't like.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Those are your basic principles to me. And so those still need to be, we got a lot of work to do to turn that around. But there are some good ones out there. I do have to say that, the American male right now, in our country, because of the things that have happened, because of things going on, literally has a difficult time.
They have
trying to
uphill ladder
stand.
to climb.
They really do. And I'm like, okay, everybody, if you're going to send me any bad message or hate message, just go to, I'm going to find Chief. Chief's going to come knock you out.
Our current president said there are men and there are women. And there it is.
Well, I do believe the good book has it the best. So if I'm going to go by the good book and whatever it is to others, you can't tell me there's any other way that you've got a man and a woman and then you've got a child. So, I won't go any deeper into that one. That's about as basic in science as you can get. 1 + 1 is 2. It's pretty easy to me. But when it comes to respect, even outside of our military, it's the respect, it's the empathy, and it is the personal ability to reach out and understand that we have got to support, we have got to show kindness, and we have got to get our principles back in order. And actually, someone like you, Steve, speaking up like that with all of your experience, that to me is a big deal. So I am happy that you've been here.
If you borrow a tool, you take it back better than you got it.
Mm-hmm.
True.
It's just,
Yes.
the only easy day was yesterday.
Today, yes.
Yeah.
Today is a good day. Tomorrow will be better.
Yes. And I have to remind myself of that too. I'm very guilty of, we all, I guess, need to work on that part. That's a very good one. I need to write that down right in front of me every day. It's a very good one.
Well, I appreciate that they came. I appreciate that they came because, this is how America heals, is through storytelling. And
true storytelling too.
yeah, it's really
true.
So we appreciate that you were here. We're excited for
Thank
you
you.
guys to come back. And we're also going to have an event at the end of the month, a little
Okay.
dinner called Lexi's Saturday Supper.
Yeah.
So
Good.
it's on March 29th on Vietnam Veterans Day. It's our
Okay.
second annual Vietnam Veterans Dinner.
Okay.
Other veterans can come as well, but
Okay.
those are admittedly her favorite. And
Okay.
so
And that is the Tree of Valor.
Mhm.
There are
Yeah, preserve your
our partner here on Patriots Inside the Wire is the
Mhm.
Tree of Valor. You can find them on our information, but the Tree of Valor, they're in North Carolina. Please look them up. Lexi is it's Lori that is here as the co-host with Patriots Inside the Wire, Wednesday Warriors. And really it is Lori who is picking who's on the show. So if you want to be on the show, be nice to Lori and get a hold of Lori. Yeah, and you should take some pictures of that dinner. Lexi is her daughter, so that's why I wanted to bring that up. And so the last supper that you're going to have, be sure to take pictures. Do you want to show us any of the gallery? But I do want to say this to you, Chief. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for the fighter that you are. You gave me back something that I'll tell maybe off channel when we're not live. You gave me back a couple of memories. You gave me back a couple of things that were like, you know what? It's okay to be like that. I call it the street fighter. There's a difference in fighters. If you're a street fighter and you're a trained fighter, it's very, very different. So if you've got a street fighter that you put into the military, that's what you remind me of, Steve, is you are one of those through and through, like, just, you can forget about it. You might as well just go home because he's gonna
It took me a long time to convert from the fighter to the soldier. Which is still a fighter, right?
Yeah.
But there's a difference. It's a fine line in there. And it took me a long time to learn that if I wanted to have friends, I had to be different.
Yeah.
control it and to use it, your tools.
And Rich was saying here, Rich is saying that he's retired. BMC and served 1969 to 1995. So, yes, and he'll be at the dinner as well. So that dinner is at the Tree of Valor. The Tree of Valor, you can go to their site, and that is in North Carolina. And so if you're near North Carolina
There's
and you
only
want
so many seats. so-
Yeah, that's why people have to reserve their seats because there's
It-
only a certain
like-
number of seats.
immediately, but Rich is already in there. Him and his wife are already going
Yes,
on
he
March
was the first one to
29th.
call. Thank you, Rich.
Yes,
Health
March
Team
29th.
Advantage. Health Team Advantage is actually sponsoring the
Well,
dinner.
thank you, Rich. Health Team Advantage. We just gave you a shout out here on air. So, Health Team Advantage for the Tree of Valor and Patriots Inside the Wire. We say thank you. Lexi's very important. She's one of the siblings. To me, you know, Lori knows this. Siblings are a major part of what they leave it out, and that's not okay with me. So, thank you for everything that you've done and are doing and continue to do. And Chief, I can't wait to meet you in person. And I'll eventually be there at the gallery too. And I have enjoyed this. I'm so glad that we have the real true story of someone who's actually been in it and understands in our principles of what we need in this country. We say thank you to you and everything that you do, and you still do, just by telling your story, which is not a story, it's your actual life. So thank you for that. Thank you both, and we'll see you again soon on another episode of Patriots Inside the Wire with the Tree of Valor. And yep, I just saw you do the salute there. I like that. And with the Tree of Valor, I don't know if you want to show anyone the gallery really quick or what you would like to do to close out, but it's up to you on how we close out.
No, I can just walk through right here. This is all the Vietnam area. We have the 38 missing men from North Carolina, Agent Orange. And so if you want to play a song while I show that.
I do, but I'm going to let you all pick. So Agent Orange for everybody out there. Like that's a bad deal there. When we talked about cancer, as Lori mentioned, cancer sucks. I know about cancer, and it literally, it really sucks. So Steve, I'm glad that you made that fight as well, and that you're doing well, and you're cancer free. And I have to say that too. I am cancer free, so it's something to stay on top of. Everybody out there, but Agent Orange is a real thing. And it is because of exposure. So the exposure of what has happened during service. Go ahead.
A real quick aside there. When I was being examined for Agent Orange, they said, well, how close did you get to it? I said, well, they dropped it on top of me and I swam in the rivers.
How close did you get to Agent Orange?
In real truth, that doesn't even matter because people who were on ships.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've had other sailors tell me that they had to have terrible cancer because they never saw land.
I've got the asbestos,
water,
from the ships.
When the water gets filtered on the ship, the Agent Orange was concentrated.
Well,
so they
actually
were exposed to even more without ever having touched it.
Well, that and like
on
Steve
land.
just mentioned, the asbestos and everything else that was in the ships too. So there's a lot there that we need to do. That we can talk all day long about healthcare industry and taking better care of people.
That's a whole nother ball game.
Whole nother show, right?
We could several shows.
We could do a once a month. We could do a once a month with Steve, the chief, on politics and policies. Respect.
That's
trying to get me in trouble.
That's a nice rhyme and ring to it.
So normally what we do with a song is I have the song that Lori likes on purpose. Raise Up Your Glasses is now the new intro song on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then there is, you've got Empty Chair. Lori knows what that is. You have
that's
the
a nice
flag one is a very, you know that one, Billy Ray Cyrus. That's You
I
know
think
what
the
that's
chair
about?
one is good because we have not the missing man chair here,
Okay.
table behind us.
And
I
I
think
also
that's
still
good.
have Brooks herrings coming home that made you cry. So it's up to you. Lori gets to pick. Empty chair.
I think the empty chair because of the missing man table.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we are going to play empty chair at the table, and Lori is there in the gallery, which is the Tree of Valor.
So you're going to put it on my phone.
You're going to, yes, I'm going to add you up here.
Okay.
And in a moment when you're going to walk around is when I will.
I'm going to flip it around.
You got it? Hold on a second there, and there she is. She is in the Tree of Valor right now, the gallery where we've been tonight on Patriots Inside the Wire. Take a look in the gallery. Here you are.
Christmas lights felt bright and golden. Now the nights are dark and frozen. You were here, my heart was swelling. Now I'm left with tales worth telling. Photos framed, the day ain't breathing. Silent room, my chest is heaving. You were strength in uniform. Now my life is weather worn. Empty chair at the table where you used to be. Echoes of your laughter haunt this memory. Heaven called you home, but left this heart alone. Warriors honor, a love carved in stone. Messages left unwritten for the hero that I'm missing. You were here, my pride would blossom. Now my tears, they fall unbidden. Friends ask how I've been holding, hands clasped tight as I am folding. You were courage from afar, now my guiding northern star. Empty chair at the table where you used to be. Echoes of your laughter haunt this memory. Heaven called you home, but left this heart alone. Warriors honor, a love carved in stone. Messages left unwritten for the hero that I'm missing. You were here, my pride would blossom. Now my tears, they fall unbidden. Friends ask how I've been holding, hands clasped tight as I am folding. You were courage from afar, now my guiding northern star. Empty chair at the table where you used to be. Echoes of your laughter haunt this memory. Heaven called you home, but left this heart alone. Warriors honor, a love carved in stone.
Baby, I won't say a word.
You're muted. Hold on one second, Lori. You're muted. So I can hear Steve and Steve can hear me. You're muted. So she's muted, so I can't hear her. Does she want to walk around again and play? Is that what she wants, Steve?
Yeah, she's shaking her head, yes.
Shaking. Okay. This is Brooks Herring. I have to preface this, or unless she wants Lexi's song, it is totally up to her. You can ask her. You're used to asking and giving orders. Ask her what she'd like. Does she
You want
want?
Lexi's
You mean
song?
the song the new song?
It's up to you.
Oh gosh, that's a beautiful song. Sure.
It's Lexi, which is her daughter. So you can show around the gallery real quick, and I will move you back over there, and we will close Patriots Inside the Wire with Lexi's song. So again, I will move you back over. For everyone, stay tuned. This is Lexi, and it is Lexi's mother, Lori, here from the gallery. And they're doing the dinner there at the Tree of Valor. So this is special. The Tree of Valor makes every day in this little girl's eyes very special when she sees stars and stripes. And now Lori will show you more of what Lexi sees all the time that brightens her day.
Lori, you done with that?
She don't say a word, but you don't need to hear the way her eyes light up when that flag waves near. A little hand on her heart, standing so tall. She may not speak, but she says it all. Red, white, and blue, shining in her eyes like a fire inside you can't disguise. Every star, every stripe, it tells her a tale of love and freedom that will never fail. Oh, Lexi's life, it's more than the cloth. It's the love in her soul, the price that it costs. She don't need words to say what she feels. That flag is her voice and her love is real. She watches it wave in the wind so high, like it's dancing with angels up in the sky. No need for a sound, no need for a sign. Her heart beats strong and the flag aligns. Maybe she can't call her name, but she honors each hero just the same. Silent devotion, stronger than steel. The love for that flag you can see, you can feel. Lexi's flag, it's more than the cloth. It's the love in her soul, the price that it costs. She don't need words to say what she feels. That flag is her voice, and her love is real. So let it fly high, let it shine bright in the hands of a girl who knows wrong from right. No words are needed, no sound to be had. Just Lexi and love for the stars and the stripes of her flag. She don't say.
Okay. Oh, let's hear you. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Talking to myself. Master Chief Steve Nash, who's been with us on Patriots Inside the Wire. We were walking around to show you the gallery, the Tree of Valor. So yes, it was muted. We were paying attention to the beautiful gallery. We were paying attention to the beautiful location. You know, it is not just a tree because someone's gone. It is not about Christmas. This is about honor, remember, and never forget. And these trees are of various different meaning. And Lexi is actually Lori's daughter. So the song for Lexi is Lexi, when she sees a flag, the stars, the stripes, the colors, she immediately just like literally wants to jump out at you. So she literally, it just lights her up from the inside out. So that is Lexi. So Lexi Girl is what you just heard. And the Tree of Valor, our new host here on Wednesday nights, Wednesday Warriors, Patriots Inside The Wire.com. Shout out to 107.5 The Swamp as well. The Swamp will have our show on the radio every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tomorrow night, join us for Two Step Tribe, an unbelievable mix-up of what we have going on whenever it's music that heals us or the true stories that we give you on a Wednesday night. Would you like to say goodnight to everyone, Lori?
Good night, everyone. I see you.
We love it. Right here on Patriots Inside the Wire. Again, join us tomorrow night. We will have the Two-Step Tribe. Uncle Rhino will be in the house. He will be cutting it up. It was a great night. I loved meeting and talking with Master Chief Steve Nash. His history there is just unbelievable. And I wanted to make sure everyone saw this. Look, Lori.
I know, such a great picture.
Isn't that is him. That is the Master Chief Steve Nash right there.
Yep.
And yeah, he's still there. There he is. I wanted to show your picture, so I was able to show that. And then we have two that are in right now. We've got Mr. Tai E. Shout out to you to carry on for those that are active duty right now. And then a shout out right now to this kid right here saying thank you to you as well for what you do and everyone that was at that table, because most aren't anymore. So again, thank you so much for that. And this is what happens with the cloth when they hand that to you. These are true stories, true things that we bring to you on Patriots Inside the Wire. This is Mrs. Lori, the day that I met her. We talk about siblings. That's a sibling. We're very, very, very big on you better take care of those siblings. Now, Chief, we're going to close out here, but I want you to see something, because I want you to see the look in the eyes right here. If he's able to see this, these eyes, this is who he reminds me of. Literally right here. This is that look.
That's her son.
Yeah, but he's the kid that when you talk about knocking someone out, literally, no second thought at all. Literally, watch out, because you're just going to get knocked out. You just had to know that going into it. So, but we're saying thank you for joining us on Patriots Inside the Wire, saying goodnight with the Tree of Valor. Stand by as we roll out here with Patriots Inside the Wire. The Two-Step Tribe will be on tomorrow night. So stand by, Tree of Valor.
Thank you for watching another episode of Patriots Inside the Wire, hosted by Gold Star Mom, Tracy Two-Step. Help us broaden our reach. Like, subscribe, and share.
Solid roots. So I'm my brother Two-Step.
And thank you for joining us, everyone. Good night. And tune in again tomorrow night to Patriots Inside the Wire. We will be with Two-Step Tribe. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you do, and we will see you all again very soon.